The Falcon and the Winter Soldier's final episode tied up the series' biggest mysteries, but it left plenty of room to wonder about a possible Season 2. From the mystery of the power broker to the fate of several super soldiers, here are the biggest unanswered questions. Sharon Carter's transformation from an idealist willing to break the law in order to do what's right to an international crime lord is the biggest reveal in the finale, though it isn't particularly unexpected. Fan speculation made her the top pick for the power broker. Her brief appearance in episode 5 practically confirmed it, and the finale makes it official. Not only do we learn who she is, but we witness her murder one of the enhanced Flag Smashers, Karli Morgenthau, as well as Batroc. So what exactly inspired Carter's transformation to the power broker? We get implications that a lot of it has to do with the aftermath of 2016's Captain America Civil War. Specifically, we learn Sharon is still considered a traitor, while people like Sam and Bucky Barnes are free to go where they will. Along with expressing a new negative outlook towards superheroes in episode 3, when Sam comments on her wealth, she says,
"At some point I thought if I had to hustle, I might as well enjoy the life of a real hustler."
And in the finale, when Sharon confronts Karli, the Flag Smasher says,
"You wanted to control a world that hurt you, but I wanted to change it."
But those are the broad strokes. What really happened to Sharon in Madripoor? Going from being disillusioned to becoming an international crime lord is a big leap. We're betting a lot more happened to Sharon than we know, and that's a story worth hearing. It's pretty much a guarantee that a lot of Marvel Comics readers watching episode 3 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier were thinking about two names, Wolverine and Patch. That's because while the fictional island of Madripoor first appeared in 1985's New Mutants issue 32, it's best known as the initial home of Wolverine, when his first ongoing solo title launched in 1988. Meaning to operate incognito, Wolverine wears an eye patch in Madripoor, where the inhabitants know him as Patch. Fans were no doubt looking for a grumpy guy with an eye patch as Sam, Bucky, and Zemo made their own attempt to fool the crooks of Lowtown into believing they were other than what they appeared. Of course, Wolverine isn't revealed in episode 3, but that doesn't mean he isn't there. While theories about how mutants will be introduced to the MCU will likely continue to multiply on a daily basis, we still don't know how and when that will happen. It could very well be that Logan was in a Lowtown bar while Zemo made his famous dance moves in Hightown. We'll just have to wait and see. As far as Karli Morgenthau and her enhanced soldiers go, the Flag Smashers are just about dead. Of those who survived to see the finale, Sharon murders 2 of them, including Karli, and Zemo's loyal butler kills the remaining 4 with a car bomb. So unless there's one we don't know about running around, all of the Flag Smashers' enhanced soldiers are dead. However, from the very first episode, we see the Flag Smashers have plenty of recruits who don't have anything to do with the super soldier serum, but they're just as dedicated to the organization's cause. Not to mention that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier has made it clear the infamous blip created some complex problems. Granted, by the end of the finale, the GRC steps back from its resettlement plans. But there's plenty of reason to think that the kind of people recruited to the Flag Smashers still have some valid complaints. Either way, there's no reason to think they'll just vanish. One of the most intriguing new characters the Falcon and the Winter Soldier introduces is Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She's funny, she knows way more than she should, and she's so mysterious that she makes Nick Fury look like a used car salesman. Unlike the senator who browbeats John Walker in episode 5, she knows Walker no longer has a Captain America shield. She validates Walker's homicidal actions, and in the finale, she hints that she has something to do with the murders of the final 4 Flag Smasher super soldiers. In the comics, Val is a high-ranking member of S.H.I.E.L.D., but that organization's status is still a little ambiguous in the MCU. Regardless, she clearly has something to do with some type of organization, since she not only has access to an intelligence apparatus, but the power to put John Walker back in a costume as US agent. One tantalizing possibility is that this has something to do with the Thunderbolts. Back in 2020, rumors circulated that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier would introduce the team to the MCU, but perhaps rather than introducing the team, the series has just planted the seeds. After all, while he may not technically be seen as a supervillain, John Walker would certainly fit in a group of criminals possibly seeking redemption. When he meets with Sam and Bucky after breaking out of prison in episode 3, Zemo finds a mask on the dashboard of one of his many expensive cars, and he treats it with care. While it featured heavily in the series' promotion, we only see him wear it once in the actual story, when he causes an explosion to save Sam, Bucky, and Sharon from the Madripoor bounty hunters. He's removed it by the time he picks up the others in a stolen car, and we never learn exactly why it was so important to him, why he seems to want to keep it secret from Sam and Bucky, or why he bothers to wear it at all. Zemo is better known as Baron Zemo in the comics, where he wears a similar mask. but Zemo's MCU origins and motivations stray significantly from the source material. So that doesn't answer anything. One likely possibility is that it has something to do with his past as a colonel in Sokovian intelligence. Perhaps in the right circles, Zemo's mask is as recognizable as the Winter Soldier's metal arm. That would explain his hesitation to show it to Sam and Bucky or to wear it in front of them. Or maybe it's just a Baron thing.
I'm a Baron, Sam. My family was royalty until your friends destroyed my country.
In one sense, this question has been answered. John Walker has gone from being a disgraced Captain America to US agent, the same alias he uses in the comics. He's working for Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, though it isn't clear exactly what he'll be doing or even who Fontaine really is. Apparently, the government is okay with this, as no one arrests him for showing up to fight the Flag Smashers in New York City. Still, it's clear not all is well with John Walker. While he's thrilled to get a second chance, he still hasn't taken any kind of responsibility for his actions. To Sam and Bucky, and later to Congress, Walker justifies murdering the surrendered Flag Smasher and never backs down from his position. He even lies to Lamar Hoskins' family, telling them the man he murdered is the one who killed Lamar. Not to mention, as far as we can tell, he still hasn't told anyone about using the Super Soldier Serum. Emotionally speaking, Walker is a time bomb. Between his actions, his lies, and the impact of the Super Soldier Serum, US Agent probably has another major meltdown on the way. And it's going to be ugly when it hits. Toward the end of the finale, Sam gives Isaiah Bradley and his grandson Eli a surprise. He brings them to the Smithsonian, where he reveals a new addition to the Captain America exhibit, one honoring Bradley and the other black men who were experimented upon in the hopes of creating more super soldiers. The exhibit includes a statue of Isaiah and an accompanying description that reads, "Isaiah Bradley is an American hero whose name went unknown for too long. The moment is overwhelming for Isaiah, who embraces the same man he angrily kicked out of his house a few episodes earlier." Does this mean Isaiah Bradley no longer has to live as a man presumed dead? In the penultimate episode, he tells Sam he'd be killed if he ever went public with his story. And yet, that story is now public knowledge. Presumably, Sam did something as the new Captain America to make sure Isaiah would be safe. Otherwise, Isaiah would probably have a much different reaction to seeing his life story literally on display. But whatever Sam does, we never hear about it. Perhaps Sam figures that once the story is public, that alone will safeguard Isaiah, since it might be considered pointless to assassinate him when the proverbial cat is already out of the bag. However, that would seem a pretty big risk to take with someone else's life. Marvel has yet to officially announce any kind of film or TV project revolving around the Young Avengers, but they've been planting the seeds for years. In episode 2 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we meet Isaiah Bradley's protective grandson, Eli. In the comics, a young Bradley becomes a superhero patriot, one of the founding members of the Young Avengers. Initially, Eli lies to his teammates, telling them that his grandfather's abilities passed on down the family line. In 2005's Young Avengers issue 8, however, it's revealed Patriot never had any powers, and instead, he's been using a drug called mutant growth hormone to temporarily give himself enhanced abilities. After this is discovered, he quits the team in disgrace, but soon rejoins. Not long after, in 2006's Young Avengers issue 11, Patriot takes a shot from a Kree soldier meant for Steve Rogers. In the following issue, his grandfather agrees to donate his blood for a transfusion, and Eli develops super soldier abilities shortly afterward. We have no idea if Elijah Richardson was cast with the future Young Avengers project in mind, but with more and more of the team popping in the MCU, it certainly seems likely. Just before the final credits, the title card displays something a little different from what we're used to. It reads Captain America and the Winter Soldier, honoring that Sam has taken on the role of Cap. But we have to wonder why it doesn't instead read Captain America and Bucky. Or if Bucky doesn't have a superhero ring to it, they could have used the name given to him in Wakanda, Captain America and the White Wolf. While Winter Soldier may sound cooler than Bucky, it's not a name Bucky or anyone in his circle uses except when discussing the brainwashed Hydra puppet of Bucky's past. Whenever Bucky says that name, it's with guilt and shame. By the end of the finale, Bucky has finally given his heartbreaking confession to Yori. And judging by the book he leaves his therapist, that was only one of many similar conversations he had off camera. But it may be that his unchanged name in the title is a sign that he still has some work to do before the Winter Soldier is truly dead. At the end of 2019's Avengers Endgame, Steve Rogers is clearly not the young man he once was. But after the events of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, no one can seem to agree on whether or not he's alive. He's referred to as being gone multiple times, but no one ever refers to him being dead. The Avengers could have lied about his death to the public to give him a well-earned quiet retirement. He could be in another timeline. He could be on another planet. Or
some people, they think that he's in the secret base on the moon.
All the possibilities on the Steve is alive side of things might sound like wishful thinking, but plenty of fans are pulling for it. Some of them theorize, for example, that Rogers is hanging out with Nick Fury and the Skrulls from the post-credit scenes of 2019 Spider-Man Far From Home. Joaquin Torres, played by Danny Ramirez, practically screams cool sidekick, and there's a good reason for that. Torres' comic book counterpart first appears in person in 2015's Captain America Sam Wilson issue 3. Experimented on by the mad scientist Carl Mallis, Torres is a human-bird hybrid who becomes the next Marvel superhero known as the Falcon. The makers of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier couldn't have hinted any more loudly that their Torres will likewise take up the mantle that Sam Wilson leaves behind in the finale. In the penultimate episode, Sam tells Torres to keep the wings that John Walker tore up earlier. With a little technical know-how, Torres could be joining Captain America in the sky soon. After watching the finale, it definitely seems like this show will be getting a second season. After all, the new title in the end credits feels like a strong hint that there will be a season 2. And more than that, Captain America and the Winter Soldier feels like a series positively begging for more. While the Marvel shows on Disney Plus were initially announced as miniseries, the concept of this Captain America and the Winter Soldier doesn't seem as finite as some of the others. It may seem silly, for example, to expect a season 2 of WandaVision, but the story of Captain America and the Winter Soldier doesn't feel complete. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite comic book heroes and villains are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.